Hi home, I'm Russian Bear, and today we will talk about politics, about Russian-Ukrainian conflict. I made video, my past video was 5 reasons behind Russian-Ukrainian conflict, and I explained kind of casus belli, why it started, the reasons behind it. So today I wanted to answer your questions, which you put under my past video, and I understood when I read your comments, I understood that actually propaganda works very well in the West, in USA, in Europe, the same as in Russia. So propaganda, it's everywhere. And first I want to say that I am for peace. People shouldn't shoot into each other, especially in 21st century, of course. But countries have their own geopolitical interests. Every country makes what's good for it, for the state. And we have 2 layers. Layer of people, like humans, like you, me, we are humans. And every human has empathy. Every human, most of the people, they are good, yeah, kind, and people want to have peace. But there are other level, political level, governmental level, state level, and at this level there are countries which compete between each other, and they do not have empathy. They are not kind, they are not good, they do not have such terms. They have interests, and they try to eat each other, economical way or in war way, anyways, like diplomacy way. Countries, they always struggle, they always compete between each other in all ways, all possible ways. So we have 2 levels. At level of humanity, as a human, of course, I am against any war conflicts. I really want for all Ukrainians all the best. And it's awful that people suffer. But at state level, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to understand why it happened and how it's going. Because at state level, it's always will be. For all history of human, there are always a lot of wars, a lot of conflicts, economical wars, and all other stuff. So, first, I want to say that I am liberal. I'm Russian. I'm from Russian minority of liberals. You know, in Russia, not much people call themselves liberal because it's kind of dangerous in our country in certain ways. So I am liberal, and I say about it openly. And I am for the freedom of speech. I am for the freedom of trade. I am for reducing influence of government and state at people's life, I myself. But at the same time, I know history quite well, especially Russian history. And I understand how state works. And I understand that what we have right now, it's what we kind of deserve, what we should have. So every country has its own stage of development, of social economical development. It's important. So every country has their own stage of social economical development. Social, it's people, it's their values, it's how they information which they understand, which they have. And economical, it's more global kind of. And also it's close to people, how people feels about what is right, what is fair. So every country has it. And when, for example, USA came to Afghanistan and they wanted to create their democracy, it didn't work because Afghanistan far behind in social economical development. In time, they will come to capitalism, they will come to liberalism, one day maybe, but not right now. And now, when you try to force it, it's always bad thing. It didn't work, and yeah, it didn't work for Afghanistan, of course. Russia were more accurate in Syria, for example, because we came there to Assad and we didn't try to change their ways of ruling people. It's such good culture. It's developing, but you shouldn't force it. It's an important thing. Okay, let's go to second. First, I am liberal. Second, I read a lot of different sources of information. Most of them in Russian, some in English. I read Reddit from English sources, for example, quite diverse place. And from Russian, I read a lot of liberal sources like Medusa, like some Telegram channels, and also I am looking into state propaganda, you could say, sources. So I have a lot of sources of information, and of course it's very easy to understand that truth somewhere in the middle. Because right now when I read Reddit, when I read like CNN, BBC, I see there are a lot of propaganda, huge amount, and a lot of lies. The same way as we have in Russia in our official. They also make a lot of propaganda, a lot of lies. So both sides, they are lying to you. And kind of getting the right understanding of the situation, you should think by yourself, not to take just any side, because both sides, they are wrong right now. In almost every conflict, it was like this. Not always, but yeah. So it's what I want to talking about. I want to ask you very simple question, just one question. One. Please do not ignore it, because when I tell this question in the comments, my past video, people just they just do not want it because it's so kind of not comfortable question. But let's be fair. Let's try to find the truth. And the question is very simple. Why, when USA bombed Yugoslavia in 1999, destroyed huge country in the center of Europe, divided into several small countries, why nobody put any sanctions towards USA? There was some like protests, safe protests, like some 2.5 men came to the street. Great. But why there are no any sanctions? Why all people around didn't say, USA, you're wrong, we will ban you economically? Why it was like this? Yugoslavia, 1999. USA destroyed huge country in Europe. It was the only ally of Russia. It was Yugoslavia, because it's also a Slovenian country. Some parts of this country, they're still supporting us, we're supporting them. But I mean, why it happened? Because Russia, the year before, actually not a year, like half year, Russia had huge economical crisis. And in 1998, Russia had huge, biggest in the history economical crisis. We were very weak. And USA looked at this, and they just, this is perfect time to destroy their ally, because they can't do nothing. And they did it. And we didn't do nothing. USA destroyed huge country, bombed it. A lot of peaceful people, civilians died because of this huge bombing. Nobody cared. No one made any economical sanctions, any ban toward USA. USA just did it because they can do it, and no one say anything. Okay, people say, but they didn't do nothing. And right now, when Russia kind of do the same, because it's their geopolitical interest in Ukraine, everybody made a lot of sanctions. It's economical war towards Russia. Everybody against, and they actually doing stuff. They make a huge economical bans. They take like a huge amount of our dollar reserves. They frozen it, and yeah, a lot of problems we have economically right now. But when USA did the same, no one did nothing. Why? Because USA own the world. It's very simple question. Ask it to your friends. Do they know about Yugoslavia? Google it. Take a look at Wikipedia. Next, let's talk about Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and other, like dozen of other countries where USA came, bombed everything, destroyed cities. Like first, when someone shoot, first they throw grenade and then they come and look around. What happened? And it's how USA people make war. They kind of try to minimize their loss of their people, Americans, of course. But for example, Russians, they do not make war like this. At first, when they entered the Ukraine for 4 days or for 5 days, Russians, they were very, they didn't attack any cities. They didn't use like big weapons towards cities. It was forbidden. It was kind of, they do not do it. Because, okay, they hope that people wouldn't make so huge, Ukrainians wouldn't make so huge oppression, so huge defense. But still, I mean, they tried to make war not like USA makes it. It's not a big deal, maybe you would say, but still it's important to note that for first 5 days, Russia were very, I wouldn't say peaceful, but was very careful not to shoot anything toward any civilian house. And then they didn't do it, but a lot of people from Ukraine, they just started to use it and to destroy our army, to kill a lot of our soldiers. And yeah, we started to make war as USA doing everywhere. But still, we do not, right now, we didn't destroy any city like USA doing at Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, there. So it's we do not bomb cities, which we could do, but it's very bad because a lot of people will die. And actually, right now, goal of Russia is to make all civilians go away from these cities. So we could start to kind of attack it with our air forces to destroy these militaries. Right now, these Ukrainian militaries, they just hide behind civilian people, and they do not want to allow them to go away from the cities. And very easy thing, you have a lot of propaganda. So small thing, think about it. When this conflict started, Ukrainian state government, it's forbidden to leave Ukraine for any man, like male, female. If you are male, you can't leave the country. You can't go away. It's forbidden. You will go to jail or they will kill you. If you are male, it's fact, just Google it. If you are male, you are not allowed to leave your city. It's forbidden, or you will be killed, or I think they wouldn't put you to jail. Why? Because they will need to feed you. They will just kill you. That's it. Ukrainians, they will just kill you. If you are male and you do not want to fight, that's it. It's how it is, because they have such kind of thing. We should protect us. Okay, you should protect you, but it's kind of, I just do not understand. Why, if someone do not want to fight, do not to have firearms in their weapons, why they should do it? So it's how this war going. It's important to understand that actually right now Russian force, Russian army, it's kind of in trap. I'll say. It's bad situation. And what I could say, this operation by Russians, by my country, it's made with a lot of errors, a lot of mistakes. We didn't prepared for it. We didn't prepare. Putin thought that Ukrainians, they wouldn't start so good defenses. They wouldn't defend. Putin thought that will be the same as the Crimea. So it's huge mistakes. They just miscalculated stuff. But still, it's what we have already. And the only way to get out of this situation, to end it. And for Russia, it's still, even with all these errors and mistakes, Russia has power to kind of to end Ukraine. The only problem is that military forces of Ukraine, they have hostages. So these cities, there are a lot of people, civilians, and Ukrainians, they do not allow them to go away. I'm not only talking about male people, because male, they just can't go. It's not way, no way. You will be killed if you try to run, if you are male. So people, they try to disguise themselves to female. Maybe you saw such stuff. Just Google it. And they get caught by Ukrainians. So it's the problem right now that the only way to win this war is to start big operations from air toward the cities and kind of clean these cities. But it's not possible because Ukrainians, they get a lot of hostages in these cities, or some people, they just do not want to go away. Yes, some small amount of people, they just do not want to go away. So it's kind of the trap where we are. But still, I just want to tell you that, again, the main question, that for USA, it wasn't a problem. USA, they didn't just, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, in Libya, in these countries, they just didn't had any question. They just demolished these cities. They just cleared them. They just bombed it and without any hesitance. And no one cared. Do you know about any sanction towards USA because of Afghanistan or Iraq? Do you know about anything, anyone made something toward USA economically? The question, because of Yugoslavia and other parts of the world, which is far away from USA, and they bombed it and they destroyed it. And they destroyed these countries, actually. Destroyed it because there are still all this IGIL, all this Islamist terrorism. It was kind of made by USA. It was made because in 17th, when we had Afghanistan war, Taliban Afghanistan war, Russia invade Afghanistan to fight with Islamists, but these Islamists, they were trained by Americans, and it was kind of big operation versus Russia, versus USSR. So IGIL and all these Islamist terroristic organizations, they were actually made by Americans in 70s of the past century. Just Google it. So right now it came like boomerang to Americans, and then they just started to get to other these countries and started all this stuff. So right now Afghanistan catastrophe, Syria catastrophe, all these places, they are kind of, you could say, like Americans, USA, they were like a bear who put their paw toward bee house with honey, so they just aggravated these bees. What for? And destroyed cities, killed a lot of civilians, and no one cared. I mean, okay, people said something, blah, 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 blah. And still, no one put any economical sanctions. Why? Because USA owns the world. Very easy. So right now, what we have when all Western world made these sanctions toward Russia because Russia tried to protect their geopolitical interests. Ukraine, it's Russian zone of influence, because we have border, 200 kilometers border with Ukraine. And Ukraine, it's want to join NATO. NATO, it's anti-Russian alliance. You should Google about it if you do not know, because it was organized after Second World War. It was organized versus USSR, and Russia, it's USSR kinda. We took their depths. We took USSR nuclear weapons. So and it's our heritage. We took all interests of USSR into the Russia. So NATO versus Russia. That's how it is. And it's very stupid. This is very stupid. Why? Very simple thing. Because, right now, Russia, it's not very strong country. Okay, we have strong army, but still, the main competitor towards USA and towards West is China. China right now it's the most powerful in economical way country. It's more powerful than USA already. So right now there are two main power in the world, USA and China. So for USA, it was very important not to give possibility to Russia to become China ally. But all the situation which happen right now is just pushing Russia towards China. So right now, all these economical sanctions which West put on us, we will just turn from West to the East. That's it. We will start. Okay, we will become weaker. We will sell our resources even cheaper to China. So what I wanted to say that all the situation right now, it's huge mistake by the West, because all this situation which is happening, it makes West weaker, economically too. It makes Russia weaker, but it makes China stronger. So all this situation, this war conflict in Ukraine, it's the only country which have something good out of it. It's China. So sometimes I'm starting to think like, oh my God, it feels like China made it, this combination. Like, of course, it's I don't think it's so, but the only country which will get advantage over in any way, in any possible ways, what will happen we do not know after a year, but anyway, China will have a lot of profit out of it, and West will lose and Russia will lose. So right now, when I see all these sanctions toward Russia, the only question which I have toward you, it's why USA didn't pay for stuff which they done to Yugoslavia, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Syria. Why? And also Yemen and some other countries where they came to give their democracy to people who didn't ask for it actually. And yeah, we see how it's going in Afghanistan right now. After their invasion, for several years they were in Afghanistan and then they flee past year, and it's become much worse. Yeah, and all this IGIL, these terrorists, they all produced by these war operations by USA. So the question is, why no one made USA to pay for it. And the question very easy, the answer very easy, because USA own the world. And what does it mean? It means that please shut up about talking about some moral, about how Russia is so bad country. You know, we are doing nothing new. We are doing small thing compared to USA actions in the past. Very small, actually, because it's Russian border. There are in Ukraine, a lot of pro-Russian people actually still, but they're very afraid to say something because you could be shot immediately if you will say something. Also, they're afraid that even if Russian forces came there, they will leave afterwards. So Putin said that we do not plan to occupy these territories. So people, even if they are pro-Russians, they're afraid to say it, of course, because they will be immediately killed. Fuck, you know, it's very easy there in this country. So, but still, I mean, this is traditionally Russian zone of interest, while Yugoslavia wasn't interest of USA because it's on the other side of the world. Google where Yugoslavia was, look at this country in '99 and look right now how they demolished it into several small pieces. So why no one made USA to pay? Because no one can't. They do what they need to do to deliver their geopolitical interests. And I do not judge USA. I do not blame USA. I understand how it works. We have human layer, and as humans, everybody against war. Everybody. But at state level, there are no humans. There are interests of countries which compete towards each other. At this level, at human level, you could blame USA, of course. You could blame Russia. It's the right thing to do. But at political level, at state level, you understand, okay, they made it because it was good for their country. Okay. The thing is that it's dual standards, and I really hate it. I really hate it when right now we have so much blaming towards Russia and Russians. At the same time, for all these 30 years of USA invasions all over the world, no one blamed USA for real. I mean, okay, some people say, oh, Americans there, but put some sanctions, ban American companies. Come on, guys. No, Americans, they are good. They democratic country. They want to put Afghanistan, to make Afghanistan democratic country. Oh, real. And what they made eventually out of Afghanistan? Come to Afghanistan and look how democratic it became. How producement of opium raised because they stayed there. So heroin produced in Afghanistan were much smaller before Americans came there, you know. It's just an example. Right now it's like 3 times more. I do not know how much times, but much more. Just take a look. I could Google it and could find you numbers if you want. But it's just the fact. So, of course, we as humans, we are all against, it's understandable, but I just really hate these dual standards. And when people talk about politics, they shouldn't act on this level. They should look at this level too, sometimes at least, and to ask this simple question: why no one made USA to pay for their war operations and to pay for endless amount of lives which they also destroyed. Why no one made USA to pay for the wars which they created? Just this simple freaking question. Answer. And after you will answer it, then look at situation in Russia, where we have actually, we didn't flew all other at the Mexico. We didn't made a war operation in Mexico, you know, because there are no Russian interests in Mexico. There are no Russians in Mexico. While in Ukrainian, it's half of this country. It's Russians, you know. All people speak in Russian. All people know Russian there. So, of course, a lot of people in Ukraine want to join EU, Europe Union. A lot of people, they are pro-Western there. But at the same time, there are kind of 30% minimum people who are pro-Russian. And we, in Russia, it's very understandable, this political state interest. Why it's so? Because NATO, our enemy, wanted to make the closest and the biggest Russian ally in the past, want to make it its vassal. And it's very bad for Russia. It's very bad if Ukraine will become Western country. That's it. For Russia, it's very bad because it will be NATO, another NATO base, and it's very dangerous for Russian security because of nuclear war, because of it's just a very simple thing. So the only stuff which Russia asked for Ukraine before this conflict started, just to sign that Ukraine wouldn't join NATO. That's it. No one cared about it for 10 years because, of course, no one cares what Russia say. Everybody care only what USA say because they have power. That's why they could bomb any country without any consequences. And Russia can do nothing because it's a weak country, you know. And right now, when it's made something, of course, I do not support it. I'm against any war operations, myself. But at the first place, I against USA war operations, you know. And the situation which we have right now, it's totally, it's not unfair. It's just freaking stupid. Because as a human, you could be against, but you should also understand why it's happening. And it happened because every country wants to have its competition, and every country try to become stronger than surrounding countries and use any powers to do it. That's how it is. So that's it. It's what I wanted to tell you. It's very stupid. Sorry, but for me it's very hard to read all comments in Reddit right now, because I see that propaganda, Western propaganda, it's totally black and white. So they do not see that situation is quite complex. They do not look at it under different angles. They just say Russians bad. That's it. It's all what they say. And it's kind of silly. Because, yeah, every country did stupid things, a lot of stupid things. But for West, of course, it's for left West especially, it's very good to have the enemy, these badass Russians. Again, they starting to be a threat, so we should combine our forces. And all this rhetoric is just propaganda to distract people from real problems. You know, USA Biden administration, they just shit it. After all this crisis, all this COVID, they made huge amount of mistakes, and USA economic going to hell, actually. The same as Europe. And they want to blame Russia in all this, their mistakes. So it's, even though it's very bad for the West to put Russia toward China, but it's still, these people, they're politicians who want to be elected. For them, interests of their country, it's much less important than their political ambitions. For West, for USA, for Europe, it's very freaking bad to put all the sanctions to push Russia toward China. It's worst geopolitical mistake on this level which they could do ever, but they're doing right now, because for them, for real, for this politics, for as a persons, for them, they need to be elected. They cheated, they made a lot of mistakes in these hard times of COVID, and Afghanistan, they cheated. So for them, it's very important right now to find someone who they can blame, and this is Russia. It was very handy. And so they actually traitors, because they made bad thing for their countries. This politics, Western politics right now, they are traitors because they make bad thing for their country. They make China stronger. They make USA and Europe weaker and Russia weaker, much weaker. But Russia will just turn towards China, that's it. So it's very stupid. What I could say, it's very stupid. And this propaganda, but it is how it is. So now I want to answer another question. How Russia will react on it. I mean, would it demolish Russia? But I think I'll do it in my next videos. How these economical sanctions will affect us. We will talk about in our next video, so please don't forget to subscribe and write your comments. Let's make a discussion. Answer me this simple question which I asked you today, please. Have a good day. Bye-bye.